Hi guys, this is Pawel from Shimano and we are again in beautiful country of Sweden trying to catch some pike with the crankbaits. And in today's video I would like to tell you a little bit of how to select a perfect rod for crankbait fishing. If you ever wonder what the crankbait is, well, basically it's a wobbler that looks like this. It's quite noisy in the water and it really provokes the fish in an additional way, much more than a classic twitch bait or the soft bait, for example. And the additional benefit of the crankbaits is that they are floating, so it's so easy to fish with those in the places that are quite difficult when it goes to the technical fishing. For example, places where you have a lot of rocks on the bottom or a lot of snags on the bottom, you will avoid being like stuck with your lure. Also, when you are fishing like in the weed line, and the weed is, for example, like up to the mid-surface, then you can easily go with your lure above this weed to drag them out from the obstacles. So with the crankbaits you can fish everywhere and you can fish like anything you want. You don't only can limit yourself to the pike, you can go for a perch or zander, but basically the nicest thing is that this is the lure which really attracts the fish. So as for the lure selection, just for today, I select three types of lures. First of them is the word crank. It has the flash bass technology, which is very nice, even if you have just a little bit of sun like we do today. The second one is the cover crank from the USA range. A little bit more affordable, cheaper lure, but also very noisy on the water, so it really will give those bites. And it has like three types of the diving depths in the range, so you can easily adapt to the specific spot and how deep the fish are, how deep you want to search for them. And the third one is not maybe basically the crankbait, but it's still a noisy lure, and this is a new chatterbait from the USA range, which also perfectly fits the rods that I'm using today. So I'll fish with those three. We'll see the results at the end of the day. So guys, now then you know what the crankbait is and when is the best type of fishing and the spot to use them. Let's talk about a fish. It's a better one. No, it's a better one. Seems like the better one a little bit. No, it's a small one. I think that the bigger one was holding it. Might be, really. Or it went just like into the weeds because we are fishing above the weeds. So if it dives, then it's like felt better, but it's not. It's just a small fish. Let's quickly release it. Okay, so where was I? Before this little fellow that pretends to be a big pike for a moment interrupt. Now when you know how to fish with the crankbaits and when to use them, let's talk about the main topic of this video. So how to select a good rod for this type of lures. And basically the thing that is the most important for you to know is that the rod has to have specific action. Those lures are quite, I would say, unusual when it goes to the action. They are really noisy, they are really vibrating ones. So the action of the rod that you should select should be either the moderate fast or fast to really not suppress those vibrations of the lure. When it goes to the type of the rod for the specific crankbaits, I would say it's only the matter of the size of the crankbait that you will use. Most of them is like up to 21, 24, 28 grams. And Shimano will find rods that are all above 20 grams casting weight, which will be fine enough to use majority of the crankbaits available on the market. So yeah, I would say there's no point to make it like too much complicated. Maybe the type of the fish, if you are specifically going for pike, try to select the rods that are a little bit more powerful. But if you select perch fishing, for example, only, and then try to be a little bit more sensitive with your rod, with your setup, just to have more fun and more play with the fish. If you are wondering, like, should you choose the bite casting rod or the spinning rod? Well, basically it depends only on your individual preferences. I prefer the bite casting rods in this specific technique of fishing with the crankbaits. It gives more direct contact with the lure, and it's also being more accurate. Maybe not in a place like this in Sweden. We are in the middle of the lake just casting on the big plateau with a weed. But if you are fishing like in a city or with some structures between some rocks, for example, well, then really the accuracy will be better. But like I said, it's up to you guys, and I'm not saying that one or the other of the type of the rod is better. Let's move to the rods that Shimano has in the range that I can recommend to you if you're about to start your journey with the crankbait fishing. Let's start with the rod that I like the most, and it is the most expensive one. The Poison Adrena, which is about 2 meters length and up to 21 grams of the casting weight. A very versatile rod, but it met all the requirements that it can have for the rod dedicated for the crankbait fishing. So it's a fast action rod, combined with a quite progressive action of the tip. So it will give you this additional amortization of the lure action to give you a little bit of more a space when the fish will strike. It's really nice. It will increase the lure action basically. The nice thing about this rod is that you have the carbon monocoque, which increase also the sensitivity. It will give you additional feeling of the lure, of the structure, of the bottom structure, for example. You will feel everything, and it will just help you to be more precise on your fishing. I combined this rod with the new Metanium DC. It's 71 size. Very nice reel. The most premium flagship model that we have for this kind of sensitive types of fishing. I really like it. The set itself is just amazing experience to fish with it. This is something for people who expect best of the best. Now let's move to something that will be, let's say, more welcome by the bigger audience of the anglers. This is the ESA crankbait rod. It's 2.2 meters up to 24 grams. Also the bite casting version. The ESA AX rods are brilliant. I mean, this is really the product that everyone will enjoy fishing with. And this model is specifically dedicated for the crankbait fishing. So it will really meet all the requirements that you might have when fishing with the cranks. I combine it with the SLX DC 71 size, also quite small reel, DC system. Brilliant thing, especially for people who just start the journey, the fun with the bite casting reels, because it will help you to cast longer, to cast more accurate, and it will, let's say, spare you some problems that you might have with your braid during the casts. The rod itself, really light, really nice looking, sensitive tip, fast action, really good rod for any type of fishing if you fish perch, zander or pike. And the last, most affordable set, especially for people who just want to begin the fun with the crankbait fishing. As you can see, also a bite casting reel combined with this specific rod, and it's a ESA BB wrench. Very affordable, very nice looking and good working rods. This one is also dedicated especially for the crankbaits. It's up to 24 grams, 2.2 meters, so basically the same like the ESA AX. The type of the blank is a little bit different. It's a little bit less powerful because it doesn't have the HyperX technology. There's a diaflash technology in the butt section, so it will give you a good hookups. But on the tip section, it will be a little bit, even I would say, more progressive than the ESA AX. But it's a good alternative for people who just want to start. I combine it with the SLX 71 bite casting reel. Also nice combo, very light, very good for technical ways of presenting the lure. So yeah, this is what you can get for about 200 euros. An important thing for you to remember is that the rod is about to give you the fun of fishing. So if you don't like the bite casting rod, you can select any type of rod that will be a spinning one. It will be fast and it will be progressive on the tip section. It will be fine for the fishing with crankbaits. Also, when it goes to the length, I prefer the shorter rods, like this one's up to 2.2, 2.3 meters. But for example, if you are fishing from the bank, you can easily go with 2.5, 2.7, just to, you know, have this additional meters on your cast, for example. So that's it, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I hope you get at least some basic knowledge on how to select a proper rod for the crankbait fishing. I hope that you will get this feeling that this technique might be something for you, because it's really effective and you will really catch a lot of different type of species of the predator fish. So if you like the video, please put your thumbs up, subscribe our channel, and ring the bell to get the information about the new products and more tips about the fishing for your future adventures. Thank you very much, and see you in the next videos or on the water.